performing is fun. I've done it here and there with like bands, and it's fun when you're on stage and you're playing the song, but it's also like you don't sometimes see the crowd. It's disorienting. You stand so long setting up, and it's not like I was going on tours or anything, which again,
Yeah.
you spend the whole day driving and then setting up and stuff. I was just like, man, I just kind of want to go home and write a song instead.
And that makes sense to how you turned it into production of music as well. Because you wanted to, you're creating, so you're writing stuff, and then you wanted to make it. So it's like making it sound
That's
as good as
exactly.
possible, creating it in that way. So that makes
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, no, I could play the guitar, and I was like, well, I want to, make this sound like something, and obviously, it just forced myself to have to learn what drums are, what bass does, how to program those things. I mean, I remember when I got like a drum machine, and how I actually would program was in real time. I would use my mouse, and I would click where I want the kick drum.
Oh,
So if there was
wow.
a double, yeah, I would do it. You can hear it on these old. I still have like those old demos I made with it, and you could hear it, and it's hilarious to hear.
So the World of Warcraft
And
skills came back.
dude, yeah, and exactly. And I would just go like did it like that, and it was so off time. It sounds so bad, and it would only be kick drums and snares. I didn't know what cymbals or hi hats were, so even that, it's like everyone starts from somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had no fucking clue what I was doing at all, but I was just doing. That's it. And then the more you do, and the more you see, the more you can do. And then I just kept learning and learning out of necessity, right? Because I was still a guitarist and I loved guitar as well as I loved writing, but the guitar was that thing, and the other stuff was just there that I had to do. And eventually, I love now, drum program is one of the funnest parts because that's when you can kind of spice things up, add little accents here and there, and add different grooves. And even mixing, it's the same thing where it's like, well, this sounds like a trash can. I got to make it sound kind of decent.
This sounds like Saint Anger from Metallica. We gotta fix that.
And yeah, just putting on YouTube how to mix. How to mix metal. What is this? What is compression? What is EQ? And just out of necessity, learning literally everything. And that's just the music side, but all the concepts are mirrored with YouTube too. It's not like I had a playbook of how to YouTube. I got a camera and I just filmed. I had to Google and YouTube literally everything. I had to learn how to video edit. You have to learn, how to do Photoshop to make a thumbnail. It's just you learn along the way and you hope for the best. And the funny thing is, like, even if I was to even look back on my like something I did like 8 years ago to now, like you can see that essentially journey. Like, you can see me literally developing all those necessary skills a little bit more and more and more and more at the time over those 8 years, right? It's crazy.
What was the first video that you made? What was the first thing that you published?
Oh my God. The first video I made that's not on YouTube anymore, I think was a cover of like maybe Avenged Sevenfold Scream or something. It might have been that.
Yeah.
It's really old. But then the first one on my YouTube, which you'll see if you go back now, which is so random, is me jamming over a Steve Vai backing track for like a minute.
All right.
I don't know why. It's just that's what I did apparently, and then as well as like a few other covers of like the Kill Switch and a lot of early 2000s metalcore stuff, and that's really it.
So how old were you at that time? So you said about 8 years ago. So
I mean, I'm almost 25. Like, so I was like 15, almost 16 at that time.
So the goal would have just been like, was it more for you? Were you trying to put the stuff that you were doing out there, or was it just like a record to keep?
I don't think it was and it wasn't really like a record because it's not like I thought too far in the future. I was like, oh wow, it'd be cool to have this as like a time capsule. Now I'm glad I do because I can literally go back and be like, holy shit, I'm bad, like, and then kind of laugh at it and have fun with it, right? But no, I think it was just something new and exciting, and I was like, this fun, I do. I think that's what a lot of my music journey really was. Like, I was just excited by how fun it was and how different and how rewarding it was on such like a little tiny scale that that's all I needed really to just keep doing it mindlessly, basically.
Were you seeing success early, or was it because I'm wondering if you suddenly saw success and then that kind of drove it more, or if it was you loved working on it and the success kind of came later.
Uh, a little bit of both, but mainly number two. Essentially, what happened was I would just keep making videos and covering songs for the fuck of it, and then also I released like original music way back when too, and like shove it on there, and it would do like okay. And for the next like literally, actually even till now, it's been kind of like a. It hasn't. I haven't had any of these like huge bursts. I never had like a viral video necessarily. Like I've had a bigger video like Slavic metal that's
Yeah.
like 2 million or whatever, but
Yeah.
I never had like a viral hit that like was like everyone was sharing all stuff. And it was like, oh, that's, and everyone's like, oh, now I know who that is. Like I
Yeah.
never really had that.
Hmm.
But I did have a concept essentially, which was when I covered a song and I covered it again at that time the same day, which I didn't know was anything special. It was, I think After the Burial was the first one. After the Burial, Lost in the Static.
Hmm.
I think that was the song. But I covered that poorly, might I add. And I covered it the same day, and I saw a lot of people going like, "How'd you do this so fast?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like I just learned, like I used my ear and I learned the song." And again, because it's not like I had a lot of musicians to compare that to. I didn't know that was special. I thought it's just like you sit there, you hear a song, you learn, and that's it. And a lot of people were saying like, "Dude, how the fuck did you do this? Like this is crazy." And I noticed that video also got a lot more traction than the other ones. And I was like, "Oh, this is maybe something special."
Yeah, I have a special thing about me. It's like it's kind of like a perfect ear. You can just kind of hear it and you can be like, oh, that would be played this way. And I say that because I just watched your video where you gave like 5 minutes on each song of requests.
Oh my god. Oh fuck, that was stressful, dude. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But you can literally, like, the song starts playing and your hand just goes to the spot. And if you're not on it, you're right next to it. So it just seems like you've got an ability that's quite rare.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and that's the thing. Like back then, I didn't know that was something. And again, I had it, I guess then, but it was like in a much worse way. Like again, you can hear those covers back then; they're way more fucking inaccurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that, and I was like, oh, this is something special, and I just kept doing it. Like new metal song would come out, I'd cover it, and that kind of became my thing for 4 years. That's all I did.
Yeah.
And then I eventually delved into like other content, like reactions and meme videos, and just kind of spread myself out to more variety. But yeah, I still do the fast cover thing, and it's I guess a mix of, I don't know, lucky ear with also just like playing, listening to so much music, learning so much guitar stuff, like learning so many songs that you kind of get a sense of patterns, you get a sense of habits. Like guitarists are creatures of habits, right? So I'll always, no matter what, learn the second song I cover by one band faster than the first, because I've understood and now analyzed kind of their habits of the guitarist and kind of their go-tos, even the tuning, right? First of all, I can tell you right now, next Gojira song's probably going to be in D standard, like things like that. That those are already instant helps. And then from there, it's just using a bit of the ear to kind of hear and identify some of those patterns through like scales and theory and stuff like that, and just kind of going with it, really.
Yeah, I've never thought about that, but with Mudvayne, because I'm a huge Mudvayne fan, I remember learning the songs on LD50. Once you learn one, they're all hitting the same notes. It's like
a decent amount.
Yeah, so kind of because once I learned one, then I'd go on to the next one. It's like, oh yeah, that's a high note, so that's probably this one. Like, and just kind of figured it out that way.
You kind of get understanding just of their habits, and that's it, and their styles, like what makes them essentially, right? What makes them stick out? What makes their guitar style stick out? And I attach myself to that with my understanding mixed in with theory, as well as song structure, which I think is something not a lot of people try to focus on when doing songs. And I made a video so fucking long ago, and I definitely could have made it so much better. Essentially explaining how I learned songs so fast and how song structure works, and how you might see a 4-minute song, but really what's happening a good amount of time, the song is a minute 30 of different shit copy pasted with slight variation.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're able to identify where things are copied and pasted, you're able to internalize it a lot easier and play through it a lot easier, because you can just be like, this is this part, then this part, and then this part, and then everything's repeated, copy paste in this exact same order. Okay, well that's just being a robot at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the only thing you have to focus on is the little variations, which I always hate, because that's those moments where you have to actually think.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, oh, this time when they repeat it, they go just slightly up here, and I'm like, why? I have to, consciously remember that now, right?
Yeah, there's a few times I can remember on stage where we're playing through a song and I'm playing like a chorus, and suddenly I get this like hot sweat fear where I'm like, is this the first time I've played this or the second time?
Is this the first? Exactly.
And where are we going to go after this? Are we going to go into the really heavy bit after the chorus, or is this the really soft bit? Because if I do the wrong one, it's going to be real obvious.
Yeah, exactly, right. So those are the things which can trip you up. But even just taking it, like, oh, there's repeating, in structures, and identifying where those parts are, mixed in again with decent ear and experience and understanding the patterns of that band and what they kind of go through, mixed in with the theory. That's how I'm able to do it all. It's a big combination of all those. Without with one of those missing, it would take a lot longer for me, I think.
Definitely. And so because I know on Edge of Time, you don't stop moving in that, like the guitar line, it feels like you never go back to a steady gent. It never goes to like a standard bass. It just keeps kind of flowing with the song. So yeah. I can see that when you're songwriting, yeah, you must be looking for, I don't want to write a chorus, a verse, and a breakdown, and then just repeat. Like,
yeah, not a lot. I don't. I mean, there's definitely paste a decent amount of times, but structurally, I like to just keep it refreshing. Like again, writing it's storytelling, right? And we are born to be good storytellers. That's one of the best things, right? Is storytelling, whether it be in mythology stuff where I don't fucking know, a rat eats an entire serpent or whatever the fuck, and you're like, how the fuck did that happen? It doesn't really matter because he told it in a fun way, like a captivating story way, right? So as long as the song usually flows structurally and it's always exciting and captivating, I don't care if it's a simple structure or if it's a ridiculously complex one. Every kind of riff and every melody base and every song kind of tends to just fit with one more than the other. And I never like if it feels like it's going to be a simpler structure, I'm not going to shy away from that just because it's a simple structure. Like it just maybe that it works like that. It tells the best story that way. Right. Whereas some of the other songs might just tell the best story in a way more complex way. And that's really it.